I'll start the talk by introducing myself and theories of imagination. I'm Abdulla Buhijji. I'm one part of Theories of Imagination. We were just commissioned for the Al Jaddaf Playscape Commission, which will be actually here soon, inshallah. I'm one part of Theories of Imagination. My friend is traveling now. She's taking a 1-month well-deserved vacation, which I proudly support and equally irritated by and jealous. I thought today I'm going to make it a bit light and just show you a bit of our work. And I'll start mostly with the work that is organic, that we started small, just for you to see how we evolved together as Theories of Imagination. So, few things that are important to us in our practice. So basically, Noor has an individual practice, and I have my individual practice, and we are so different when it comes to our individual art, and we come from different backgrounds. I have an engineering management background, and then I did a master's in product design, while Noor is an architect, and we always have these fights and arguments when we develop our concepts. And we always say the settlement is the best concept we can come up with. So I'll start with a few things that are important to us. Our work is always experimental and experiential. In the sense, it doesn't have to be tech-based or sensor-based, but it has to be interactive. It has to involve people and help them explore different senses. Our work is always human-centric. We start with what kind of emotion we want to deliver, what kind of feeling do we want the person who's exploring the work to feel. So this is usually the start of every concept we have. It's multidisciplinary in the sense that it could be anything. We don't label it. Like a lot of people come to us and tell us, is this a design or is it an art? And we don't have an answer for it. It is what you see, it is what you experience. It could be a table, it could be a chair, it could be an installation. And it's inclusive. So our favorite moment, or we consider the work is a success when someone who's 70 plus years old and someone who's like 5 years old would equally enjoy the work and each one of them would have their own interpretation of the work. And we love it when our work kind of prompts different people to talk to each other, collaborate to each other, and you'll see most of our work is trying to do that. I'll share some of the public art projects. Some of them we did actually before forming the studio, Theories of Imagination, but we were collaborating together. I wouldn't say curators, but we just two people who came together and wanted to do something. And this is the spirit I want you all to have, because most of the work we've done in the beginning is just organic. We pitched to organization. We went to city councils and just told them, can we have a minimal budget and do this for you? So we didn't start with actually big commissions or whatsoever. So I'll start with this project. It's back in 2017. It was our first collaboration. We went to like an abandoned area in Muharraq, which is like a historical city in Bahrain. And we've always like questioned why are these like beautiful buildings and areas are abandoned and no one is like even approaching them. So we did just a minimal intervention with very minimal budget. We just did we kind of like rolled an open invitation to anyone to come, and we'd have like minimal tools, and just the goal was just to have like kind of a very small route where people would come, play, do some like organic art and just come together, and it's like a photo moment. And you can see like these different small interventions. The goal was to have these Instagrammable moments for people to come. And it's just to show the potential of the place at that time. And all of these, you can see like, it's even like just things that you can buy in a supermarket or like found materials. We just play with them in different ways, and the goal is to include people. So when we saw the success of that event and like we've got a bit of, I would say, hype, we proposed to the Authority of Culture in Bahrain to have like a small kind of showcase of something we called Muharraq Art District. At the beginning, we just wanted to show even like the potential of this place and the potential that public art could have and its impact for people. Yeah, you can have a gummy. And you can see like we did, what we did is like we took a route and we walked around and we saw these abandoned places again, some of them that became like just a dump. And it's a walkable route that we just created. And we started like inviting artists and giving them briefs, and just the goal was just to show how we could be playful within the city and how would it activate the city. And you can see like we invited different artists and architects to just do some works in the city. Again, with very minimal budget. Each artist would come with their own medium and do something related to the topic. And the focus of most of these works was to showcase the importance of even just, not just public art, but also public spaces and greenery. These like kind of, we see them empty spaces, usually empty spaces for buildings, but they could be something that brings people together. So the next year we did also something, it's called Tashkil Manama, so we went to a different city. And actually before going to this project, so the previous project in Muharraq, and nowadays there is like an official route by the Ministry of Culture. They like kind of saw the potential of it and developed something even with a bigger budget. So you can see how these small interventions could do like a major impact with time. With Tashkil Manama, we also wanted to showcase the importance of public spaces and public art, but we wanted to focus on having different generations talking to each other. So we made sure to do these works of art in collaboration with people from the elder generation who owned, for example, a cafe or an abandoned building, and we would ask them, could we work with you and like showcase your stories and communicate these stories that are untold about the city. And you'll see from the audience, like we have different people from different backgrounds who'd come and talk to each other about the works and talk to each other just about the city itself. And this is what we wanted to do at the beginning. We took this, I would say, semi-abandoned mall where only the front shops were occupied. And we took the mall and we did like an interactive work where we invited a data artist. It was the first data installation in Bahrain. And basically, we also wanted to showcase the potential of this place. And actually, this year, the Ministry of Culture is considering transforming this building into artist studios. So, as you can see, like these small things could make an impact. You don't have to have a big budget; you just have to approach it. So, with this project, I just want to show also the potential of public art as a tool to showcase our identity. This is an installation we developed for 1971 in Sharjah, the Flag Island, for the National Day of UAE. I wanted to showcase the process of this because a lot of people think you have to make renders, you have to be very competent in 3D or like sketching and these things, but we started this process with paper models and just like trying different shapes together. And then we went to just doing a collage, not even like a 3D render, just to show the client what could it be. And then putting things together, and you can see the final result from a paper model to a public art installation that is communicating the identity of the UAE. So basically each of these sculptures consists of 7 sheets of stainless steel, and they all depend on each other to exist. So if you remove one, they would fall. And it's just to show the importance of unity and how it leads to flourishment. I'll just show you this installation. So the goal of the reflective surface was also to have you be part of it. So when you approach this installation, you'd see yourself as part of this installation and feel part of this nation. This was one of like our recent work. It was, I think, a year and a half ago. It was part of the Dubai Expo. It was kind of the closing installation of the Bahrain Pavilion. They wanted to do something just to celebrate the end of like the expo. It was called Amplified, and with this one we wanted to show the potential of public art to be a tool for collaborative making. With this work, we had different columns that are interactive, and these columns are inspired by columns that exist in Bahrain from the Dilmun culture. It's like from a temple in Bahrain that existed 5,000 years ago. Most of our work, we always try to do something that is culturally rooted. We try to research the area, research the goals. So the theme of Bahrain Pavilion in Dubai Expo was density creates opportunities. So we wanted to communicate that through an installation. And this area was also the waiting line for the installation. So we wanted something that brings people together, makes them collaborate together. So basically each of these columns had, I would say, a Bahraini instrument that played a sound. And when they all work together, they make a Bahraini song from the folklore. I think we have some like, and you can see just like people would come and just run around and just try to make these sounds. And so it's an installation that you could explore on your own, but also an installation that people could come together and just make a song together. This was our last installation in Riyadh. It's part of also like a public art exhibition. It was called Noor Riyadh. It was called Extrospection. With this like an installation, we also wanted people to collaborate, but somehow we wanted them to do it in a different way. So we will see with every installation, we learn from the previous installation what could go wrong, what could go right, and what could we add to it. So we wanted people to first explore the installation and then start talking to each other. I'll show you some videos here. These also had sounds. I don't know why the video flipped. Let me just put... You can all just tilt your heads. But basically we'd have these different shapes that each had a different music, original music done for the shape. And these shapes would interact with your movement in the space. So the more people would move in the space, the more you'd hear a melody, the more the shapes would move with you. And when two people stand opposite to each other, these shapes would stop and the light would switch off and it would turn into a mirror. So the only time you could see yourself is when you collaborate with someone. So the only selfie moment you could take is when someone else is helping you on the other side. So we would see like kids, older people just like coming together and trying to figure out how to stop this shape. And since this was like, you can see like maybe here. And since it was like a public art exhibition, actually at the beginning we experimented with, fortunately the flipped screen, but we experimented with the lights. We wanted people to come and just take photos in this installation. It is a way to just make public art accessible for more people, while at the same time having a philosophical idea communicated behind it. I'll move on to the focus of this talk, which is the Playscape Commission, which we recently were fortunate to be commissioned for. It was an open call. And actually, most of the works that we didn't pitch were part of an open call. So it's also a pitch in another sense. So I always encourage you to just keep an eye out for these open calls and pitch as much as possible. Out of 10, you might get one. Out of 100, you might get one. And it could kickstart your career. So with the Jameel Playscape Commission, it was kind of a dream project for us because Noor's master thesis was in playgrounds. I'm doing product design. I was focusing mostly on toys. So it came in the perfect timing for us. We called it I Dreamt of a City Everyone Calls Home, which is, to us, was Dubai. I moved to Dubai around 2019. But I was always back and forth between Bahrain and Sharjah. But I was always amazed by how the city kind of can give you the feeling of a home, even if you're new here or a foreigner. Just you can always make a home in this city. So I'll show you the process behind this installation, which we again started with something simple. We started reading about Al Jaddaf as an area, and it's a shipyard, which was, to us, it's an enabler of these ships that comes to Dubai. It's an economical driver. So we saw this shipyard also as a cultural driver that brought people, elements, and their stuff that inspired kind of the architecture in the city, the art in the city, and the flora. So we started walking around the wider area and just taking pictures of the different shapes, flora, even the flowers on the ground. And we were amazed by how these shapes, most of these elements, come from different parts. They're not just from one region. So you can see the diversity in it. And at the same time, we came to the playground side, just examine how people interact with it, how the kids would run around it, where the families would sit, just to know which areas we should sometimes maybe not even interfere with, some areas that we could develop and improve. And you can see from different angles, we just walk around the playground. And then going back to the pictures, we start again with very simple sketches, just letting our minds wander and just sketch inspired by these patterns. And then we started transforming these patterns into 3D kind of shapes that, again, it's just simple sketches, and just how could people interact with these different patterns that are inspired by the flora and by the vernacular architecture in the area. Different just imaginative things. And at this stage, we don't think about whether it works or not. We don't think about the technicalities as much as how could people interact with it, and then we would figure out the technicalities next. And then you can see the final step would be just to develop them into a bit of fast 3D renders that could communicate the idea. And you can see we transformed each of these. If we go back to this picture, each of these shapes we transformed and kind of a bit contemporized, gave it a bit of color. Because one of the things we're interested in is to actually contemporize culture. We're always discussing why do we see it as in a lens of nostalgia? Why don't we build on it and just keep on building on it? So you can see these 3D shapes, different play elements, different even play types. We wanted adults to also play. We didn't want just to have it for kids or a certain age. We wanted different people to just explore different ways of interacting with these shapes. And then we would start and go, okay, how we could develop the technical parts. So some of these shapes have sounds like the one in the upper middle. So it rotates. Someone would help you rotate yourself, or you could rotate yourself, and you'd hear a melody. And then, so this comes next. We think about how could we make sounds in different ways. This was the final kind of technical kind of model that we developed. And then you can see how we transform these things into technical drawings. And some of these things are actually in, some engineers would help us. We don't do everything on our own. So you don't have to be kind of a one-person show. You could always collaborate with people who would help you develop this concept further. And then you can see like we examined the map. We made sure to have different kinds of play, active play, some resting stations, and then some sensory stations. And then by looking again, by looking back at the site and how people interact with it, how the kids would run up the hill and go down, we wanted to keep the same kind of elevations and just like build on where the kids would run and walk around. And you can see we started doing these lines where people could jump from, or like these arrows where you could run faster, and maybe like just develop your own game out of these shapes. And one of the things is by seeing the site from far, you would have like, you can see now it's pale green. We wanted something that attracts people from afar. When they see it, they would come, or the kids would call their parents, just like, let's go there. So it's kind of a call to play. This is kind of the final sketch that we did with the different elements, placing them in different ways. We made sure like to not place them where people are kind of like enjoying the elevations right now, and place them where are kind of there are dead areas. And we kept the sand because we saw people playing with the sand at the beginning. So we didn't want to interfere with the people who are used to coming to this playground. So you can see like with some of the projects you would, I would say it's like with every artist there comes an ego. With public art, you'd have to somehow lose a bit of this ego and just try as much as possible, think of the people who are gonna kind of interact with this work and who are going to see this work on daily basis. And this is kind of like one of the final sketches we had. And I think that's it.